And then I realized that a few months earlier, I had made a really stupid decision. I obeyed what at the time was Texas law and began to leave my gun out in my car. So it was completely useless to me.
A man shot more than 40 people in a Luby's restaurant that day, killing 23 of them. Suzanna Hupp was there and lost both of her parents that day.
It took a good 45 seconds, which is an eternity, to realize that the guy was simply going to walk around, take aim, pull the trigger, go to the next person, take aim, pull the trigger. He was executing people.
Suzanna says she does not blame the shooter for her loss, but instead the laws and the lawmakers who she claims left her sitting there unable to protect herself or her family. Joining me now, author of From Luby's to the Legislature, One Woman's Fight Against Gun Control, Suzanna Hupp. Suzanna, thank you so much for being here, and I know that you are a former U.S. Congresswoman. I will refer to you as Suzanna because I know you offer this testimonial in your personal capacity, in your capacity as someone who has lived through an episode where a maniac unleashed hell on you and your family and so many others that day. Yeah. Take us back to the moment when he drove his truck through the Luby's window. First you thought it was a car accident, but soon thereafter you realized he was there to execute people, and you thought for a moment, I've got this because I have a gun in my purse.
Yeah, remember back in 1991, these crazy shootings weren't happening like they're happening now, so you're kind of waiting for some sort of reason. You know, you're waiting for him to say, everybody put your wallets up on the table, or something like that. And it did take a long time. 45 seconds is a really long time to figure out that he was just there to execute people. So I did reach for my purse that was on the ground next to me. I had a perfect place to prop my arm. We had the table upturned in front of us. And then I realized that a few months earlier, I had made a really stupid decision. I obeyed what at the time was Texas law and began to leave my gun out in my car. So it was completely useless to me.
And when you realized that, you felt like a sitting duck. You talked about how, what am I supposed to do,
God.
Throw a salt shaker at him?
The level of frustration, it still makes me angry when I think about it. You can't go up against a guy with a gun with a salt shaker or a butter knife.
But you felt like the laws that constrained you, that made you, because it's your instinct, it's all of our instinct, most of us, to be a law-abiding citizen, to follow the rules. And you did that, and you really feel like that's what wound up costing more lives that day.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you, there were a number of other people in the restaurant that had dutifully left their guns out in their vehicles that day. In fact, a couple of years after the incident, a older woman approached me in the local bank and said, Suzanna, you don't know me, but I want to tell you that my daughter was one of the ones that was killed there that day, and her gun was out in her car as well.
Mm-hmm. And I know you say that you don't believe there's any coincidence that we see these things happening over and over again in restaurants, in schools, in malls, in places where...
Isn't that amazing?
They are gun-free zones.
Yes, isn't it amazing that all of these mass shootings, Megan, if guns are the problem, then somebody explain to me why we don't see these mass shootings at skeet and trap shoots or the dreaded gun show, you know, places where there are thousands of guns in the hands of at least as many law-abiding citizens. These creeps go to places where they know that they can rack up high body bag counts. I know you're a mom, and I'm a mom, and I just can't imagine being back in that position, but instead of having my parents with me, have my kids with me, and not have any way to protect them. That just makes me ill.
And I know you say that even people who are opposed to guns and you know, more robust Second Amendment rights would probably want to have somebody who had a gun nearby them. God forbid they found themselves in a Luby's type situation.
Yeah, I guess that's the old adage about when you're actually in this situation, most normal people want to be able to defend themselves and their children or grandchildren.